Thank you very much for joining us on this concluding segment of Development Focus with Jide Ojo on ITV. Today is 5th of May, 2021, 5-5. It's a very good day, a very good day in Abuja. The weather is clement. Now, I have a very big fish. Everybody around has been hailing Chamo. I have with me the chairman of Nigerian Union of Journalists, Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Comrade Emmanuel Ogbeche. You're welcome on the show.
Thank you, Jide, for having me here. Good morning, Abuja.
Good morning. It's good to have you around. We just celebrated, and we are still celebrating, World Press Freedom Day. But what is very instructive for me, yes, the theme is information for public good. But maybe we should start from getting to know you. Tell us a bit about yourself for the benefit of viewers who are not journalists.
Okay, I'm the chairman of NUJFCT, and I'm also editor at the Abuja Inquirer newspapers. I have almost 2 decades in journalism, and basically I've been in Abuja, and I believe that the media serves as a barometer, not just about government activities, but also for citizens. And it's instructive that we all work together for the public good. I've worked with several international organizations as resource persons. I've been at the World Bank twice, and also I've had the opportunity to attend international courses in places like Israel, and also I hold the position as treasurer of the West African Journalists Association, WAJA. Basically those.
Okay, good to have you. The theme for this year, World Press Freedom Day, is information for public good.
Yes.
So what's your take on that?
Well, Jide, you know that information is critical in whatever we do, whether as individuals, whether as government, whether as businesses. And to that extent, the journalists or media practitioners are critical in the sort of information that we aggregate and disseminate to the public. And without having professionals in collating, processing, and disseminating this information, the tendency is that society stands the risk of fake news, of unverified, of unauthenticated news. And also, it serves as a barometer for us to hold government, its officials accountable. It is also a challenge for government that when you do not make information timely available, if there is no access to information, government information, you cannot end public trust. You cannot earn the confidence of the people. You know, in our climb, we operate a system that is too opaque. There is little or no transparency and accountability in terms of information dissemination. Let me give you a few instances. Here in the FCT, we have had cause to write to quite a number of government agencies, ministries, and departments on issues bordering on accountability. And interestingly, those organizations that are fully aware of the existence of the Freedom of Information Act 2011 will tell you that they are not covered by this. And this information are basically what is contained in the Auditor General's report or the Open Treasury Portal of the federal government. You understand? So information as a public good places emphasis on the practitioner and the government. It challenges the practitioner to ensure that the information is credible and authentic. It does not lead to the breakdown in social cohesion. And it also tasks government to reaffirm its commitment to the issue of information and press freedom and the safety of journalists.
Okay, and now, the worrisome aspect for me is the Reporters Without Border.
Yes.
In 2020, Nigeria was ranked 115 out of 180 countries.
Yes.
We rank 115 in terms of press freedom index. But in 2021, we have declined to 120 out of 180. What's your take on this? What necessitated this, the declining rating for Nigeria?
Well, if you take into cognizance that the state believes that press freedom isn't a right, in spite of constitutional provisions, you will then understand what is happening, especially as we move towards 2023, where political interests are aggregating, where they believe that accountability to the people is not sacrosanct, and because government has failed in its social and democratic contract with the people, people are beginning to be more outspoken, people are beginning to be more demanding, and so what does government do? It resorts to the theory of authoritarian rule. You understand that the press cannot be given the freedom that it deserves. You and I know that the issue of press freedom in Nigeria is a constitutional guarantee. Section 39 states it. But it is convenient for government to resort to sections 45 and to the Cybercrime Prevention and Prohibition Act 2015. So that when you cow the press, when you put strictures in place, questions cannot be asked, demands cannot be made on issues of accountability and democratic rights. That is simply what is happening. State governments are emperors in their own right. Local governments believe that questions should not be asked as to how local governments are being administered. The federal government, in its own part, is wary of its own failure. Therefore, citizens have no reason to demand and to ask questions and to express their views, no matter how germane those issues are. That is why you're seeing the decline.
So in your own rating, Reporters Without Border were justified with the rating of Nigeria. They actually said Nigeria seems to have the worst in the West Africa.
Yes, well, if you take from 2016 till now, and you look at the pattern in which repressive tactics have been used against the press, then you have no reason not to agree with them. Can you imagine that just few days to this celebration, we have seen a situation where the publisher of Daily Nigerian, Jaffa, has had to run away from this country. Ibanga Iseye of Next Edition is in hiding. 2 days to the World Press Freedom Day, the Benue State government sent armed men in a Gestapo manner and abducted a journalist, Sunday Ode, here from Abuja. You understand? And when you begin to take into cognizance the pattern, the clampdown by the NBC, the idea that even non-state actors are now leveraging on what the state is doing, then you have no reason not to agree with Reporters Without Border. And I keep saying that when you look at it on a scale of 1 to 10, Nigeria should be ranking around 4. That is being generous. Yes.
But the impression out there is that Nigeria has one of the most vibrant media on the planet, if not in Africa, if not on the planet.
Yes, the vibrancy is due to the tenacity of the practitioners.
Okay.
Yes. Now, it is not just about harassment and threat alone. There are subtle pressures on owners of media organizations. You understand? As a practitioner, you're called by the publisher, you're called by your bosses to say you cannot say this, you cannot do that. Now let us even look at the issue of equipment and working environment. We have canvassed for too long that the media requires the media salary scale so that you can safeguard the integrity of the media. Those are all issues that point to the fact that the state is desirous of a weak and a pliant media. And that is dangerous, throughout history. If you look during the days of Benito Mussolini,
in Italy.
Yes, in Italy. You look at what Hitler did, and every other country that has undermined the press.
Even Uganda.
Exactly. If you look at
even Egypt.
Good. Any country that has undermined the press is not prosperous. It may be for a short while. Eventually, the facade collapses, and people will look at it to see what it is for. And that is what we are saying in Nigeria. We cannot allow the press to be weak because the issues of democracy, the issues of the rule of law are too weighty for the press to be boxed into a corner, and that we can ill afford.
Did you get into the media as an accident, or was it by design?
Well, it was by design. I have always wanted to give a voice and to express my thoughts and because I believe that the media is critical to development and to a sane society. You understand? And I have deliberately stayed away from what you call the big media because I am an activist by nature. And I do not want a situation where my hands are tied and I cannot express what should be expressed. If we all abandon the cause of media activism because we want to advance our personal gain, then this society will be in trouble. And I think it applies to you too.
Interesting. Anyway, let's come to this issue of work environment of journalists in Nigeria. We'll go on a short break and then we'll be right back.
Its reporters, editors, and photographers have always risked their reputation and lives for the truth behind events. Such tasks require the degree of freedom which is guaranteed by the Constitution of a democratic nation and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Press freedom have been described as partly free in the Freedom of the Press 2011 report published by the Freedom House. Currently, Nigeria is 120 out of 180 nations on the Reporters Without Borders World Press Freedom Index ranking. As the world marks the 2021 World Press Freedom Day, Chairman Nigerian Union of Journalists (FCT) Comrade Emmanuel Ubeche says recent happenings where journalists were killed and brutalized in the course of discharging their duties had made Nigeria a dangerous terrain to practice.
It is only the media that has that fundamental role to hold government and its officials accountable to the people. It is there in black and white. So when the media becomes weak, when the media is threatened by state and non-state actors, the danger is that the media cannot ensure transparency, cannot ensure accountability, cannot ensure that the rule of law is upheld. What happened?
Okay, so sorry for that break in transmission. Comrade, we were looking at the work environment of a journalist. How bad can it be? And more so in a COVID-19 era, no more adverts, and the mainstay of every media organization is adverts. Then the social media seems to have spoiled business for the orthodox media, isn't it? Because now everybody is a citizen journalist, everybody is opening a blog and doing online newspaper or whatever. So what's your assessment of the media environment, our media landscape in Nigeria?
Well, it is very challenging. It is sometimes disconcerting, but let me pay tribute to all journalists and media practitioners in this country that have weathered the storm. You know, just before COVID-19, actually, the media was struggling. Was struggling because government's policy have not been favorable. You have to source your newsprint for newspapers from abroad. There are no tax rebates. And I keep wondering why we have bailout for the creative industry, Nollywood,
entertainment,
and all of those, and there is no bailout for the media.
But the president came out and said that you can spread your licensing fee. Those who are owing, they gave them more time as a result of the agitation from the media unions that we will reduce the licensing fee, and something was there for the media last year.
Well, licensing fee basically it's for those that are coming into the industry. We would imagine that you write off debts and provide incentives so that journalists and other media workers can be handsomely paid. But the issue isn't about the bailout. The issue is about policy. Now, why is it that we cannot have newsprint produced in Nigeria?
In Nigeria, yeah.
Why is it that there are no incentives for electronic equipment that are imported? There are no tax rebates. There are no tax reliefs. But we know that there are individuals that are enjoying waivers in billions because they are not in the media. They are importing essential commodities. We know. So there should be deliberate policy of government for the media. You should ensure that for conducive working environment so that the journalist and the media worker doesn't become compromised in his search for news. You should ensure that there is an act that stipulates the basic and the minimum working condition in which a media organization should operate. You and I know that there was a certain individual that went to South Africa to establish a newspaper or a media, and he did not last up to a year because the environment protects media workers. And that is the sort of thing we want in Nigeria. We cannot continue to pretend that all is well. The average journalist is responsible for his laptop because there are no workstations in the newsrooms. He's responsible for his data, basically. He's responsible for his transport allowance. And then people say, oh, journalists are compromised. And it is not true. It is unfair. And I think that it is time for Nigerians to begin to appreciate the critical role. Now, you mentioned the issue of social media. Let me say this, that people still, the believability of the traditional media is sacrosanct. All you need to do, Jide, is one day drop your car and join public transport. You can take to Nyanya, to Kubwa, to Gwagwalada, and the consensus you will hear in public transport is, I heard it on radio. I watched it on TV. I read it in the newspaper. You need to just take a stroll out of this studio to a newspaper stand, and you find dozens of people gathered around.
NFA, Free Readers Association.
Exactly. You understand? And the challenge of social media has made traditional media to own social media handles.
Yeah.
Because that is the only guarantee for you to have credible and verified information. Yes, citizens, journalists are contributing their lot, but we cannot, relinquish the social media space to the citizen. We still have a role, and that is why you find media organizations having very robust social media departments.
ICT.
And we are doing very well in that regard.
Okay, you've been the chairman of Nigeria Union of Journalists of the FCT since 2018. What have been your achievements and challenges?
Well, in terms of my achievement, I think journalists in the FCT are better situated to say what we have been able to achieve. But basically, we have engendered trust and confidence in our ability to deliver on our promise. We have a secretariat that is conducive, and that when people come, they say, oh, so journalists can manage this. We have been able to respond appropriately to the welfare needs of our people. We demonstrated this during the COVID-19 lockdown here in the FCT. We were able to reach about 850 journalists, whether registered or unregistered, because we believe that as a journalist and a media worker, the NUJ should be an umbrella cover for all.
It's only me you didn't get to. Maybe you think I'm not one of you.
Well, Ogajide, I call you Ogajide now because you're a big man. So, but we have done quite a number of things well. The fundamental challenge we have is...
Sorry, before you go to the challenge, I think you also did something for the COVID-19 vaccine. I saw on your media post that
we have been able to...
You also arranged for journalists to get vaccination.
Actually tries. And just to add to that, for the first time, we donated PPEs to nurses, to doctors, and lab technicians.
Wow.
Here in the FCT, yes. And people were amazed that we could do that, because we needed to support the administration. It isn't just about criticism and watching the government. It is about demonstrating that we can support, and that we did. And because we must build consensus, we must build synergy with other stakeholders here in the FCT, which we have been able to do. Well, to the challenges, the challenge has remained the issue of funding and how to cater to the hundreds of our colleagues that are always in need. We are planning a health foundation, a health fund for journalists, because quite a number of journalists have had to pass on, may their souls rest in peace, because the issue of medical bills was a challenge. You know, when you're poorly paid or poorly remunerated, the danger is that when you have critical health situations, you do not have a fallback option to. And so our thinking is that there is need for us to have a health funding basket that can adequately take care of some of these issues.
Okay, so how have you been able to deal with the issue of quackery in the NUJ?
Well, that has been a very major challenge. We set up an anti-fake journalist committee, but the challenge has been that the police initially gave us a few personnel as well as the civil defense, but the issue of funding was critical, and most of those personnel withdrew because you need security agencies to work with you. Okay. Sometimes the people that are involved in this are armed, they are dangerous, and we've always made the point to members of the public that no responsible and genuine journalist will come and interview you or meet you at an event and say something for the boys. It is disrespectful. You understand? That should ring an alarm bell that these individuals are not true. It is not enough for them to have a masthead of a television station or a radio station or have an ID card. They can easily print those, you know, at UTC. So it's a challenge, and we require public cooperation in this regard. We've made our phone numbers available severally, and we said, if you're in doubt, please just call. Make a call. You might know one credible journalist. Reach out to that individual so that we can verify these fellows. So
on the last note, how do we secure the issue of insecurity? It's affecting journalists. Abductions, we have had one, the Punch correspondent in Cuba who was abducted. We had an NTA staff abducted in Port Harcourt just yesterday. Yes, exactly. A lady who works with Adama Broadcasting Corporation was also abducted in her home. And this is gaining ascendancy. So what are you doing to ensure security of your colleagues who are into journalism practice in Abuja and Nigeria?
Okay, and let me also add that a colleague too was abducted in Ogun State 2 days back. Well, the issue of insecurity requires national conversation and dialogue. For us we have outlined measures that journalists should undertake to safeguard themselves. They must be aware of their surroundings. They must have a number on speed dial that can be reached easily. And you must take cyber security seriously. You understand? If it is not necessary for you to travel, please do not travel. And if you must embark on that journey, you must make your location known. And I think that technology is of help. If you look through your settings, you will find a setting that gives you live location. So we must all be very careful. The times are difficult. We call on the government to convene a national security dialogue so that we can all look at what the issues are and how to get out of what we found ourselves in.
Thank you very much. That would be the size of our discussion. It's a very brief one. Comrade is very busy. In fact, it takes a lot of persuasion to squeeze these 30 minutes for him to speak with us, because I think you still have some programs lined up today or some other day.
Today.
So we really do appreciate your creating time to speak with Nigerians, and I wish you all the best in your tenure. And keep safe and stay blessed. So that will be the size of Development Focus with Jide Ojo on ITV this morning. Please do join us next week for a fresh edition. This program is up for sponsorship, advert placement, to keep it going. Please get in touch with us and let's do business together. Stay safe and stay blessed.